Hi and welcome to my birthday video. This video is going to be covering a couple things I really like about Destiny that I haven't really covered in depth, and going to be running a dungeon. I don't know which dungeon, just a good dungeon I can run by myself, so I have a thing to talk or so I have a way to talk to y'all, give y'all information, and just really vibe. I drank a big-ish bottle, I think is big, when I say biggish, bottle of alcohol, and I am feeling good. I am just wanting to exist right now because technically it is not my birthday today. 2 days from now is my birthday. I'm just celebrating my birthday today to get it out the way. Also, I gilded my title a little bit ago, or think it was yesterday actually. I gilded my title and got Super Black. Super Black is absolutely amazing. That is something you can earn right now, which is a shader. It is free to all players and allows everyone to have this beautiful color scheme. Not the red bits, but the black and white overall. It's absolutely amazing. Uh, the main thing I'm really wanting to talk about is how this. Okay, first, this is how long I have actually been playing this game. I don't think it's entirely how long. I think there is like a good bit missing off of that, to be completely honest. But because of that, I have played this game so long. I have understood its inner workings. And like I've said in previous videos, my thing is gaming. I'm autistic. My thing is gaming. So I have understood so many little things about this that make this game so fucking beautiful, and there is no game that has ever topped it. Like I said in my previous Dying Light video, I think it was my previous one, where I just realized I am a build crafter at heart. Where that is my type of game, is just build crafty games. This game has more build crafty than any other game I can ever think of, because okay, for an example, ACD or ACD ACDC feedback is what I like calling it. ACDC feedback, even though that's not actually what it's called, I'm just calling it ACDC because it strikes people with lightning and thunder. But this, you can read it all if you want to, and I can read it off to you. That actually really works well and synergizes beautifully with this just for the ability or the armor charge, which allows you to have ranged melee, which guarantees you won't get punched during it, which allows you to have maximum armor charge as much as you really want. I have that because I really want a reason to consume the armor charge, but right now I just have kinetic inner or kinetic void and all of those different things to maximize this entire build overall, because everything is ability energy with this build. This is the build I'm going to be using with uh in the later gameplay, but just that general synergy, because people use this in like glaives for PvP, or PvP glaive builds is what you typically use with this, or for PvP you typically use this with glaive builds or really anything else, but I see it typically used with glaives for the most effect because they're maximizing that. Where when you get up close and personal, you stab a boy, you're getting that armor charge that if they punch you, they're already dead. Where it's you stab them, you're basically doing the anime thing of you're already dead. And that thud was because I accidentally hit my controller off of my desk. But uh that is the typical play style, but you can use this in really any way you see fit because so many things actually count as melee. Like, for an example, I think the guy was Hyena on YouTube. I think that's how you say his name. Uh, it's an old video when this boat actually came out, but this actually has a good example of how different abilities work. Like, for an example, this makes stasis crystals, which the Hell Barrage, the bit down below, and this bit go together to make the overall exotic thing. Tacked on this when you actually unlock it. If you do unlock it, this is a couple seasons ago, but all those together make the exotic what it is. That is the general thing. If they have an exotic catalyst, that's how that works. But it's typically the intrinsic trait and trait. If you did not actually know that for how exotics work in this game. That's why all exotics are unique in what they can actually do and offer. This this does not state this, but its stasis crystals that it spawns when you just hit the ground actually count, if you shatter it, count as weapon kills with the bow. And it's jank technically in how it all functions, but I learned this from a video Hyena made, which is why I talked about him. This is basically a stasis triangle goal. If you use it in its, to be honest, correctly, if you use it correctly, you are getting one hail barrage, which you then hit fire to make the crystal, and then shoot it in a good, or make the crystal in a crowd, then shoot it, destroying or killing all of them around it, and then doing it again and again and again, constantly giving you massive amounts of stasis crystals, which, say for Stasis Titan, and this is something amazing about the build crafting in general, and I'm sorry if this is too much for you. There's just a fuck ton in this build crafting. With something like that, your stasis crystals can then power you up. With something like, I think it's here, this, where when you have the first bit, or when you have the bow, you can then make the shards, then you can make your elemental charge happen by picking up those shards, and you can just have an infinite cycle of it. And something amazing about this specific thing, that is a specific Titan aspect. Other classes don't have that. So the entire synergy I talked about is only really applicable on Titan, which is little things here and there that make this game fucking beautiful, because every single class has their own synergy, their own exotics, their own things that absolutely synergize and make a beautiful sound, beautiful music when fully build into, fully just maximized. And the reason why I'm shouting out Hyena is because I actually didn't know that's how you use the bow. I thought the bow was just shit. With that information, holy shit, that bow is genuinely beautiful. And something kind of cool about just the overall aspect and how these things work. In places like the tower, or any place where you can't typically use guns or different things like that, you can still use cryoclasm and other aspects like it. I don't think there is another aspect like it specifically, but because you don't actually have to use like a melee ability, class ability, or anything like that, you just get the extra slide, you can use that anywhere. Tower, enclave, no matter where you are, you can use that to allow you to move a little bit faster, no matter where you are. Like if you're wanting to go to the tower, do a whole fuck ton of shit, and you're tired specifically, put on Cryoclasm, because that will allow you to just slide around the place and get shit done a hell of a lot easier. Each slide takes off like a good like half a second comparatively, but if you slide consistently, that is minutes you are tacking off at a certain point, which can come in really handy. Something amazing about this build crafting system overall is every weapon is, or okay, lightweight grenade launcher will do the same exact damage as a lightweight grenade launcher that is blue. Purple and blue do not do any different damage. Like they will do different damage for the blast radius, because the blast radius is their damage value stat. Like it will change things here and there, but with blinding grenades versus blinding grenades, they'll do the same damage, because blinding grenades gets rid of that. So that's the comparison. If you do have blinding grenades, because both those will get rid of blast radius, the purple and blue will do the exact same damage. Same with any other weapon. Auto rifles, scout rifles, pulse rifles, or scout rifles, pulse rifles, hand cannons, SMGs, doesn't matter. All of those weapons are not all going to do the same damage across themselves, but all SMGs of the same family, like all lightweights, will do the exact same damage unless they have something like this. That is, like, if they have something that truly buffs their damage specifically, this weapon's damage specifically, then you can build into more with like armor charge or an exotic that's buffing its damage specifically. If you have something like that, you can tack into it even more. But all weapons do the exact same damage in the same archetype and overall family. Where the family, like SMG family, all has the same bandwidth, where it has like the same general like ranges, like all those stats are the same. And something kind of cool, even the stats themselves change depending on the archetype. Like SMGs, they could have max range, but their max range is nowhere near like scout rifle max range, nowhere near. Like it's less than assault rifle, remember correctly, less than auto rifle max range. And not even remember correctly, I believe. If it's not, it's kind of weird, but auto rifle max range, and depending on the archetype as well, because some archetypes or some frames do have different range values, where the range does matter a little bit different, but overall it matters the same amount, where you can think of it as auto rifle stats this is good for this type of like auto rifle. This is good stats for an auto rifle. You can think of it like that, but if you really want to be fine tuned about it, you can be auto rifle or like a rapid fire, or for example, a lightweight SMG. A lightweight SMG, you would want more like stability, range, maybe a little bit more impact if you really want to, because your handling just from the frame alone is fucking beautiful because that tacks on more handling by itself. And allows you to sprint a little bit faster, but that's just the cherry on top. But little things like that for every weapon overall is what makes this game fucking beautiful. Because every weapon archetype, every single weapon archetype, be it adaptive, precision, and I believe there is aggressive frame, all of them have, and I believe there's an aggressive frame in this general area. I know there is aggressive frame. I just didn't know where the closest one is, and I don't like scrolling a whole lot because that's just a little bit annoying on your part. Or a little annoying for me, but annoying for you specifically, because it's not really annoying to me. I like scrolling through all this. It's pretty cool. But uh, all these different frames have so many little things that change across them, but overall, it is a general thing. That was a cup from a restaurant I went to. Sorry about that. I just haven't thrown it away yet. It is from today. The And same for grenade launchers, even heavy weapons. Special weapons and heavy weapons share the same thing across the family, and it is absolutely beautiful. But something amazing about the overall, how it values each individual weapon and how each thing is valued. And I'm talking about all this because I'm wanting to get into my hopes and dreams for the final shape and beyond. Because the final shape, holy fuck, is it going to be fun? The final shape is from everything I've seen, everything that I am dreaming about, like not dreaming about, like dreaming as in like seeing the pieces, how they can go together, seeing the overall architecture of Prismatic specifically, and the subclass that can only, or not the subclass, the exotics that can only work with Prismatic. That general like piece and piece of the overall puzzle, like that is beautiful. Like for an example, Titans, they only have unstop. Like they have, like if they can get into jolt and other things here and there, they can get into other things with their fragments, but their aspects and overall abilities only really deal, or fragment specific or aspects specifically. I think, yeah, the strand melee is a thing that can sever, which can deal with overload, but all of the aspects are all unstop. And I'm guessing that's the same with, like, not the same, but it's like unstop, or not unstop, overload or anti-barrier for hunter or warlock. I don't know which one is which, but Titan, because I only really worry about Titan. Titan is my main. I play the others sometimes, but I primarily play Titan. That is just what I love doing, completely and utterly. But uh, what was I gonna say? All these little things overall is what's beautiful about this game, and uh Prismatic is going to introduce so many things down the line. Like I first about Prismatics. There is going to be new subclass like Void. First, there's going to be, and I know for a fact, or not even know for a fact, I believe in the heart, in my heart of hearts, and because they have done this shit before, technically, with the subclass 3.0s, how, if you did not know, these subclasses, how these work, were not how these originally worked. Destiny 2 vanilla versus now is basically Destiny 2 to Destiny 5. There's so many different changes across the years. This is a completely different game, squared and squared and squared over and over and over again, because holy shit. But that is not really important for this entire conversation. The thing that is important is that they have done the new super, new stuff, new aspect, new super, new everything for the light subclasses. But the thing they didn't do last time was do Void for Titan, Solar for Hunter, and Arc for Warlock. Or flip the Solar and Warlock. Or the Hunter and Warlock. Flip that. It's Arc for Hunter, Solar for Warlock. That way. Um, they did not do that last time. They went subclass by subclass, where it was all Arc one season, all Solar one season, all Void one season. I am assuming, and I really hope, that they're going to introduce stuff for every subclass overall. Or not necessarily every, because I do really want another Stasis Super and another Strand Super. That would be amazing, and other aspects and like all these different things overall. And something amazing about aspects and all these different things changing, stasis is going to get a survivability thing. Okay, that sounds a little bit weird. Context for this: every subclass except for Arc and Stasis have a survivability thing. All of them. Void has Devour, which is by far the best because all you have to do is get a kill, and then you get, without the specific thing that gives you full health, without that you get half health. Or I think in PvP it still gives you 100, but either way it's 100 health overall. In not PvP you have around 200. In PvP, you have like 300, I believe, with the new changes, but somewhere around there. You get 100 health in total overall. Boom, when you get a kill. And it's every single kill with the addition of extra grenade energy on that kill as well. That's a little cherry on top. A lot of the little things on this game has a little cherry on top depending on what you're wanting to do, because you could build into the grenade energy if you really want to, or just build into health regen. I'm just talking about the health regen. But Solar has Restoration, which is a constant health regen. Berserker has its survival. Okay. Strand overall survivability thing is Woven Mail. I want to, or actually, I haven't done this for anyone else. I'm not doing it for Strand. Woven Mail, which allows you to have a damage reduction in PvE and PvP, but only to headshots. So in PvP, it's less effective, but in PvP, or in PvP, it's less effective. In PvE, it is incredibly effective. Because, say, for example, you have that, and the negative resilience there is only really to balance it out a little bit, because that, like I'm going to say, is absolutely busted. That plus the addition of that, excuse me, even though you didn't hear me, I had to burp a little bit. That makes you basically have Devour, just ready to go on orb pickup instantly. Sure, it's not on kill, but on orb pickup, you have that Devour procced, where you have increased damage reduction. In PvE specifically, PvP they can still dink you into oblivion, but in PvP they don't go for headshots. I think some enemies can technically. I think they can technically, but they don't go for headshots. They go for body shots typically. But with that, you could easily have that high damage fuck 'em, or not high damage fuck 'em up, the anti of that. You can't fuck me up. I am healed, and then I have damage reduction on top of that. And there's ways to generate multiple orbs on one ability use, or one kill, or not one kill, but there's ways to generate orbs like a fucking madman in this game, which makes it even better. And that's something amazing where you can build into literally any aspect you really want to. You want orb generation? There's ways to do that. You want ability regen? There's ways to do that. You want literally any aspect of your general kit built into. You can do that. Be it your class ability, and I think it would be better just to go class ability, your lift. Or you can build into your movement ability a little bit here and there, but not fully. Your melee ability completely and utterly, which is what I build into completely for this build. Your grenade ability, your aspect, be it either or, you can build into with all sorts of different ways. Like everything you can build into, and it is absolutely amazing, and focus on one another, which is something that makes it where there is no such thing as god rolls, because each individual build has so many little nuances to it where, like, for an example, a grenade launcher could have an amazing roll for high damage. Like, this is the high damage roll, but it could also have a good, like, a strand grenade launcher could have, say, threadling, or threadlings. I forget exactly what it's called, but that perk that allows grenade kills, or 3 kills with the grenade launcher, which you can do with one shot, to spawn a threadling on a cooldown, which then you can build into with something like that, which you instantly get more benefit from for those grenade kills, which spawn threadlings, which do more and more and more, and you can build into it a little bit more with that, and just have a threadling army on, for example, Warlock, because their thing is threadling for Strand, or one of the things is threadlings for Strand. That is something that they're really good at, and just constantly mass produce if you really want to build into that. Like, little things like that is something amazing about this game overall. And if you do want to play this game, I highly suggest making a Titan, Hunter, and Warlock, so you have the ability to dabble into all these different aspects. Something amazing about Power overall is okay, first, before the final shape, there is a thing where if you have, say, your Titan, max level, the other classes that you have will level up incredibly faster. Like everything is going to be like 20 increase, like 20 increase, 20 increase. Like, Boom, 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 everything you get. Sure, you're still going to have to get the armor piece, but you still can. I think in the final shape, there's going to be something where your power level is account wide, not class specific, which completely changes everything and allows you to just swap over to your hunter, your warlock, your titan, no matter what your main is, and just have fun, which is something amazing about this game. Because, like I've been talking about this entire time, you have so many different aspects, so many different avenues, so many different things you can build into, and just have a completely different play style. Like this play style is unique. Like I have not seen another build with this exact play style ever. And because of this overall build style, you can swap things around. Like I was doing a Pantheon run with a couple people. My power, so I didn't get to finish it, but I swapped that on for a specific encounter called Planets. If you know, you know. But that I thought would work a little bit better, so I swapped to that instead of that, but it still amplified everything because that was a void shotgun, so void dexterity and all of that was still working, which is amazing how useful this build is, where it doesn't other builds I have really synergize and just absolutely dance with the build or with the weapons I have equipped. This build only needs this and the overall like the exotic armor, the subclass. That is it for this build. This is not in any other build video, but it kind of is dabbling into a couple of things here and there. But if you want to use this build, Monty, ACDC, and the Strand aspect are the only things you need. And specifically, this Strand aspect you could get away with instead of this. This, if you really want to, you can get away with that if you really want to. Just that and that are the main key aspects of this overall build structure, which you can then tack on literally anything you want to. Anything, because you will have maximum armor charge, guaranteed no matter what you're doing. Literally, no matter what you're doing. If you keep distance, if you are in their face, you will lose it. But again, you can have infinite armor charge, so it doesn't really matter. You can actually intentionally jump into the fight, get them punching you, or get them to punch you, jolt the enemies, kill them, and then unravel them. There is some play style here that you can just constantly synergize with, and all you need is that. I don't think there's anything extra I really want to talk about except more a little bit on my birthday. My birthday is the 22nd. Just to clarify, my birthday is on the 22nd because I believe this is actually the 21st. This is the 21st. The 20th is when I had the alcohol, when I drank it, and kind of when I'm recording this. Technically, I'm recording this on 21st, but after midnight of the 20th. That was my controller for my TV. Shit. uh, um, what was I gonna say? With all that said, let's kick some ass. I am going to go do a dungeon. This dungeon is very pretty. It's my personal favorite dungeon in this entire game. I had to really scratch my ear, so I muted just in case you would hear it. Um, but this dungeon is my personal favorite dungeon in this entire game because it's absolutely beautiful. Uh, I don't think that this would ever actually get to Caroline. I will actually post on her YouTube channel. This really is important enough to me, and it really is a little bit important enough. We're trying doing the general shout out first. If you haven't heard of Caroline Carr, I had to just listen to some of her music and just watching her videos. She is a very energetic person, even though her outfits wouldn't really show you that. She is a very energetic person, a very smiley person, and a very just interesting person overall. Her music is absolutely gorgeous. But I do want to run through this with, if you haven't, okay, this is kind of a shout out for my own personal videos, but a long time ago I made a groove along. The groove along has a Spotify link that you're supposed to listen to as well while watching the movie, or not movie, while watching the video in tandem, so you can groove along with the music, or groove along with the music I'm listening to, and while I'm playing it, so you have that overall groove. Well, whatever I'm doing, you're also doing that type of thing, where it's more groovy than just about anything else I could really think about. I'm wanting to run this dungeon specifically. I'm not going to run through all of it. Like, I'm going to try and run through all of it during the groove along, all in one smooth motion without stopping at all. But the reason why I'm shining on Caroline specifically is because I really need more music. Her music is so distinct. I cannot find, like, okay, First, her music that I'm using is specifically, and I actually have to play this on Spotify. Like I said, it is going to be a Spotify playlist. You want to listen to it together with this overall thing. The specific set or the specific three songs that I have used thus far that flow beautifully. And the order is 1, 2, 3, which is why I'm saying in this order 1, 2, 3. Second Chance, Fool Me Twice, The Devil's Mind. Those three flow like beautifully, perfectly is what I'm wanting to say in tandem, but beautifully between those three. It is absolutely amazing. 1, 2, 3. I cannot find another song for this, and this will take about 30 minutes to an hour, so I want more song for this playlist overall, and I'm wanting it to be over an hour just in case. And I know Caroline will not make songs that much, that will take years, and I don't want to force her to make a whole lot of songs, but like a couple songs or a song that can blend into other songs that will blend off of these, something to help me out a little bit, because your music is fucking beautiful. I just can't do it. At least I can. If you can figure it out, please text me, or if anyone else can, off of those three, text me, comment, whatever, about what the actual, like, what another good song off of those three would be to flow and keep going. I just can't find it. I can find other songs that I would want to put with them, but they don't flow at all. Just those three are beautiful. And first, a little bit about Caroline, because uh, this section is about Caroline because I really wanted to make this video because her music is beautiful, her personality is beautiful, her smile is beautiful, just everything about it. And first, I am not a simp. Do not fucking dare. I am I am just saying she is gorgeous. She is beautiful. I'm not going to say, "Oh my queen, oh you're beautiful, oh step on me." Like that general thing's fucking stupid. I'm just saying she is gorgeous, appreciating the beauty. Just to clarify that. Um, but I do really like her music, which is why I'm really wanting to do it. That specific thing is why I want to do it, not because she's gorgeous. That is just a cherry on top of the cake. She could be absolutely fugly, and her music is just that good. I would still want to make this playlist for her, or for anyone, but it's her music, so it's kind of for her. Because I heard that people can actually, or the artist can see the playlist with their song, which is kind of cool. Or specifically on Spotify. I actually did not cover everything about this build, but I don't really need to. You kind of see it all already. Also, this game is a massively multiplayer game, or it's getting to be more of a massively multiplayer online game in MMO. And I hope a lot of people that play this game have people to play with, because that is like the biggest problem in this game. Like, for an example, Gambit. Gambit is absolutely fun. You just really want four people to play with. Without four people, it's just not that fun. And four people specifically doing stuff like stuff like this armor, like the collector vest, and then there's other type of stuff. There's collector, sentry, reaper. Yeah, all these different things. The sentry, invader, all these different things worked in Gambit. Like they all gave different buffs. I don't. You can actually see the buffs. That's Hunter specifically. Go to Titan. Can you see the buff? No. Each one of these gave something specific. I believe Collector gave you like each one was doubled or something. Like I forget exactly, but you're basically wanting to build off of these armor sets. You're wanting a good ad clear, but you're wanting to dabble into multiple things. Like you're wanting one invader, primarily for Gambit. You're wanting, like, especially one invader. One invader primarily. You don't want more invaders unless you're like gonna struggle with ammo economy. If you're using something that uses a fuck ton of ammo, you could have to, but it's better to just have one that stays around the middle, clearing out the blockers, having like a super simulant, and invading with that, having a good high damage. Fuck you. But the other classes, or the other whoever the fuck is playing with you, is going to have more and clear potential with high boss damage, because the invader is going to prioritize invading, hopefully, because you're wanting to get in every portal if they have any moats. Every portal when they do any damage to their primeval, like you're wanting to get in there every single chance you get, which is why prioritize invading if there's only one. If it's two, one has to be at the portal guaranteed, because when it opens, get in there if it is a good opportunity, like if they have moats and there's blockers, if they have done damage to their primeval, something like that. And I'm talking about all of this because this is another aspect about this game that people don't enjoy. Like, you'll hear more about Gambit absolutely sucks and is absolutely shit-tastic than it's genuinely fun. And it is genuinely fun if you build into it, if you play into it. And that's a lot about how this build crafting works. And something amazing about Gambit is PvE and PvP, which allows you to do some crazy shit. Because you could have guaranteed, when you go into PvP, guaranteed high damage because you have surge mods, whatever you're really rocking for your PvE build, and then go into PvP all ready to go, bitch smack the guys that you need to bitch smack and keep going. Guaranteed, basically as fast as you could clean your hands. Just that's basically what you're doing, of just smacking your hands clean, and it is going to be absolutely beautifully built into it. But people don't typically do that. People typically play Gambit solo because that's what is prioritizing. That not prioritizing. That's kind of what it shows because it's meant to be like that, like basic Crucible, basic Strikes, that general thing. I think Gambit should be fully converted into a high-end Pinnacle mode, like completely and utterly. I think it should be converted into that, because that will make it where all those weapons could be absolutely gorgeous, and that is like peak Destiny. PvP and PvE is what Destiny is. It fully made into, and I think if they do make a Gambit overhaul, like I'm suggesting, I really think that it should be like something around the lines, and I want to talk about this. I'm going to end the video because I don't really want to continue making this, continue running that, because like I said, that's going to be for a specific thing, and I think I technically already run that on a video, but I don't really care. If they run, or if they do a Gambit overhaul, I highly suggest they make it, in the eyes of it, is going to be a Pinnacle mode, where like Iron Banner, or not even Iron Banner, like Trial specifically, where these weapons are going to be absolutely fucking cracked. And if they do that, like Trials weapons specifically, or Raid, or high-end shit, I highly suggest they overhaul all the existing weapons to make them up to that tier, and that will give them a reason to make 21% Lyrium a weapon that can drop at its original power value. Because its original power made it my heavy weapon, because I didn't really have to worry about shields. I didn't have to worry about a whole lot of shit. When it first dropped and when I first got it, I didn't really have to worry about a whole lot of shit. I didn't do a whole lot of shit. I just really played the game and had fun. I ran dungeons here and there, but I didn't really run raids, and the higher end shit I ran, I didn't have to worry about shields. When I did, I swapped, but most of the time I ran that LMG because it was just fun. Like, going into other things I don't need to, but you could, if you do dabble into that, like, not if you could, but if the developers, Bungie, make Gambit into a Pinnacle mode, they could really hone in on the power that they could implement. Because, and specifically, Drifter, the main man, Mr. Drifter, he is going to most definitely have weapons that are absolutely fucking cracked, because like Breakneck, 21% Delirium, both of those were crazy and implemented concepts that were not in other weapons. Even other exotics weren't really in. Those pioneered concepts, they were just legendaries that were made in lore by the main man, Mr. Drifter Boy. And I say all of that in absolute respect. I absolutely love the Drifter. The Drifter is the best guy in this entire game, except for Cayde. Cayde is the best, but since Cayde died, I kind of steer towards more Drifter, but Cayde's coming back. But I assume Cayde is going to be different in some way, shape, or form. I assume that, and different things like that. And something kind of cool. If you did not know this, a long time ago, and you can actually do this now, but a long time ago, there was actually a quest that I hope they actually do more on the later, or more in the future. But there was a quest where you could actually choose the Vanguard or the Drifter, and it didn't actually do anything. I don't think it actually did anything besides you had different voice lines, maybe. But I don't even think it did that. But you got to choose, and that choice never actually did anything. I wish it did something later or more prominent, something bigger. And if they do that, they should actually implement that quest line again to allow that choice, which was pretty cool. What was I gonna say? Something they could do for Gambit to make Gambit overall a hell of a lot better. And the reason why there was that pause there is because I stood up out of my wooden chair and it slid back a little bit and I didn't want you to hear it. But something to make Gambit a little bit better overall, or to make it more of a pinnacle thing, I think Gambit should be, hear me out, the endless mode. And I truly mean endless, where instead of like the typical Gambit, like Gambit is now, it is a how far, or it's how fast can you do everything? How fast can you kill the ads, get the emotes, bank the most, then kill the boss? How fast can you do that? But what if it is instead how long can you survive? Where like this would open up the idea for more private matches, where a private match has the instant you won technically, but you could run it indefinitely. Like there could be another mode or something like that where you could run it indefinitely and see how long you can last. Where each round, kind of like Onslaught, and I do think it should take off of Onslaught, but not. I don't think it needs the building where you can like make turrets or anything like that. I don't think it should have that. I think it should be more Gambit focused. I don't know how they could do that, but more Gambit focused, what Gambit is with the modes and that overall thing, but endless, where it's how far can you go, not how fast can you go. To make it different than Trials, which Trials is typically how fast can you go. Raids are how fast can you go with survivability. This is how long can you go. Each one would be that a different pinnacle, a different thing that you were really good at, which would be absolutely amazing for this game overall. And like, I think for the endless mode, what they should do is add on to the maps. Like for an example, I'm not going to show the maps off, but I can. Or no, this actually shows off maps. Like each one of these maps could have more to them, more added on, or they could do something like each map you cycle through, or make new maps entirely. Like I really like the idea personally. This was just me brainstorming at maximum value of this is just new Gambit. Uh, I don't think they should do that. I think they should keep what they have now, or go back to more of like a what Gambit was to begin with more nine stuff instead of just Dares of Eternity dealing with the nine and that general higher dimension. The Gambit had something like that. I forget exactly what it was called, but it was Gambit something, or I don't think it was called Gambit, that dealt with the nine directly, where you went to uh, the same place Prophecy is at. But all these different maps could have, or my personal favorite brainstorming idea is where it's new maps. Like for an example, there could be a Hive map where you go there, you're guaranteed going to Hive, or like a map for each individual type, where when you load into it, you're guaranteed, oh, this is going to be Hive, this is going to be Fallen, this is going to be Taken, this is going to be blah, 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 blah. And I do think there shouldn't be Primevals, except for like at a certain point, where this is going to be a checkpoint where if you die here, you lost. But that is like a can you get past this, like a gate basically, like in like a launcher libre or those general things where it's get as far as you can. There's typically a wall that if you surpass it, you get a massive head start across, or from, or not a massive head start, you get across it, you get the hell yeah, you got to cross it, loot, that general thing. But for this general thing, because it's going to be PvP included, that could easily be a massive head start on everything else. Because I think it's not just, like, say, for example, the team ahead of you that got so far ahead. They got ahead, which counted. And I do think this should be very clarified for this overall mode, because without this clarified, it's not really that good of an idea. But something that'll make this very good is that I did think about. Uh, since you are going to be in this mode, constantly going from room to room to room, clearing it out, and I do think for this overall thing, like you say, it's Hive. It's like a mixture of all sorts of different Hive locations that have like Hive gates connecting them, where it's one side of the room to the other, clearing everything. Each room could look different, that general thing, but it's one side of the room to the other, and it could be like you start on one corner, you go to the other corner, or one side to the other side. It could be even the side right next to you, but you just have to kill everything. But that general thing of one door to the other. Clearing out everything, going to that other door is how this general system would work. But uh, that is a checkpoint where when you get like each hell, instead of the primeval health or the motes that you bank, you have distance, where the time itself is in the center, where that is constantly counting up. Where how long does this match take? The the point counters basically count up indefinitely for the rooms, where like each boss encounter, each prime evil for this case, will be like an extra 10 points, possibly because it's meant to be extra hard, but something like that. It's extra, like it's counting distance points, possibly not even points, but distance, something like that. That distance then, like say the farther distance person, like they are like double the distance, or that team is double the distance of the team that is technically losing. They all wipe. They're done. But they can stay and watch the other team to make it a little bit more entertaining for them because technically their match isn't done. Because the interesting about this, and something I do want to implement, if the winning team is still going, the losing team has overtime at that point, which allows them to get farther than them. Even 1 point farther than them, they win, which will be very interesting because they could be half as bad, like not half as bad, like they could be going half the speed, or by the time they die, they are half the distance or double the distance compared to a team that's losing, but they're still alive. They could be that much slower, not necessarily worse, and still pull out, which will be amazing for this pinnacle mode overall, because it's not about speed, it's about endurance, which I think should be something they really dabble into. And they, as in Bungie, because, like I said, each one of the different pinnacle modes, like raids, trials, those different things, all have a main thing that they're focusing on. Raids is understanding and survivability. Trials is speed and aggression. This would be survivability and aggression, where raids are aggression as well, but it's more like understanding the mechanic to allow you to be aggressive, which is what I'm saying, more understanding the mechanic than aggression, where trials is just shoot the fucker, where this will be primarily shoot the fucker, because I think the primeval shouldn't even have a immunity phase for this, where the envoy is still a thing, but that's really just to give you a bonus or something like that. There should be a lot more tacked onto this overall. Just the bare bones is what I talked about, and that's even really just me going maximum value, maximum Gambit overhaul like they already did before, technically kind of sort of twice, but because I talk about all of this because the problem with Gambit is the fact that you have to play 4-player, where it is not valued as a 4-player mode. And the reason why I'm talking about all these different changes is because Trials is valued as a 3-player mode, primarily because you get more loot with that. That valuing allows it to be more of a 3-player mode, even though solo players can load into it and experience it if they really want to, but with the understanding of it is primarily a 3-player mode. That will give the understanding to everyone for Gambit that is also implemented, or something similar to that, to make them understand that it is meant to be more of a multiplayer game. And with the Gambit overhaul, there has to be a way to invade. There has to be. But I think with the invasion, it will not count as a death if you do invade and die first. Second, when you do invade, the invasion, because okay, Drifter Boy always says this is what the Taken feel, or not always, but he has a chance to say this is what the Taken feel. Go get him. That general thing when you go invade, but you never actually get to use Taken abilities. I personally find that as a little bit of a downside. I think that if they truly do a Gambit overhaul, and like how they did this year and focus on PvP, I think they should do a year or a couple months, because they fine-tune PvP and PvE at the same time. This year was fucking beautiful for everything overall, all across the game. They should do something for Gambit, which is more of a, like I'm saying, something to focus it more into what I personally think it should be, is a pinnacle mode. And if they do that, like I'm saying, with everything I'm saying, maximum value, and if they can go maximum value if they want to, or less so, no matter what they're wanting to do, they should do it. But with maximum value, like I'm saying, with my maximum value specifically, because there's also different maximum values you could do with maximum change to make it better. But with everything I just said about the different maps and how the map layout would work, how it's a get as far as you can, as fast as you can, endurance, that general thing, as far as you can, as fast as you can, as far as you can, and survive longer than the opponent, where it's a constant mix of both. But uh, that the invasion should be you are like, ooh, okay. I just got an idea. That was literally a light bulb moment, as people would say. But with that idea of keeping it still in like the general vein of Gambit, but this is still maximum value changes. With the idea of Gambit, what if it's the motes you collect instead of you place a blocker to stop them from banking, you spawn in as a bigger bitch. Where, say for example, you have 15 motes. I think the motes shouldn't be like little bitches spawn them, like it should be like bigger boys where you could prioritize it and you can like transfer it around. Hell, there could be like a team overall. This is how much they have, like an overall something or another, a bank system. Hell, there could be a bank that goes room by room with you. You bank it into there, which allows you to have more juice to invade overall. At different thresholds, whoever's invading absorbs all that taken energy and becomes a tier more powerful. Where the play could be going in Speedy Gonzalez as fast as you can, rinse, repeat at like tier 1, and there could be like 5 tiers, however many tiers they really want to on this. But tier 1, like spamming little boys, like spamming the the taken goblins, which they have the ability to make something else invincible unless you kill them, which that gets rid of the invincibility. But the taken goblins are annoying because they can actually like link each other together, and they technically have the ability. I have not seen this happen. Actually, I have seen it happen, but they stop because they can't actually attack and block, but they technically have the ability to guard each other in a triangle formation or extended. But they still have the ability to loop around and block, like make a complete circle of you can't kill us. Technically, with taking hobgoblin or taking goblins specifically, hobgoblins are still snipers, but they have an extra sniper ability basically. But that general thing. You could be something like that for invading. Hell, you could be that general thing. Like you are taking hobgoblin. It could be something like that where it's more, not even more. It's literally you become like a taken hobgoblin, but imbued with the essence. Where when you go in there, you have the ability to make something immune, or hell, maximize Vex taken abilities. Instead of you make something immune, you have the ability to like toss a detain bubble. Where keep in mind you're using its own abilities, its own weaponry, its own everything. So you don't actually have to worry about running out of your super or having a super, because when you go in there, you generate that own thing super, like for an example, the Hive Swords, where they have their own ability energy, their own super energy, their own everything. That's what you basically equip a new thing when you jump into there. When you die, you drop it and then you respawn. Like I think it's instantaneously. It's not a you actually died, because I don't think that should really count, because the time away from your allies is enough for that invasion. Because this could be a 3-player mode as well, like Trials, but I think this should be a little bit more than Trials, because this is meant to be not Trials. Like it's meant to be another mode like Raids and Trials. So I don't know how many players it should really be. But and with more players comes more hardship of getting more people to play with, like pros and cons of the amount of people playing. But that general idea of invading, like with the maximum taken, like say you are jumping, and I think it should be different values. Hell, with this overhaul completely, they could implement the armor again, but instead of some, or like not the armor, and something I do want to talk about, because I did talk about this build and how this build I did want something to consume, or something to consume the armor charge. Right now, there really isn't anything to consume the armor charge that I really want. Like, I don't want more class ability or instant I can't die with this. Like, there's not much I really want. There's not anything I really want for this build overall. I wish there was something like Argent Ordnance or stuff like that, that when you have it, doing something consumes it, giving you more damage. Like Argent Ordnance was a armor charge thing, not a charge with light, that made it where rocket launchers, not grenade launchers or rocket launchers, did more damage on shot. but consumed that charge of light or armor charge. I think it was like 2 rockets per consumption, and that actually has been introduced here and there with these. I don't think it's a thing right now. Hell, there it is right now. That should be a thing completely and utterly in the armor charge system itself, because that would implement more things. And I think there should be more like it to enhance build crafting even more. Like there should be something for tangles, for all sorts of things to be amplified. There should be more ways to build into everything. Like for an example, Strand tangles are literally the what's it called? Strand tangles are the predecessor to Warmind cells. They are the next generation of Warmind cells, which I think do a whole lot and have the general play style they do. Something that would be amazing is if, okay, first, the sounds we have a Paracalls is already thing, and something I'm kind of brainstorming, and I do want more evidence in gameplay, but I think kinetic damage is paracausal, or is paracausal and prismatic at the same time. Because, think about it, kinetic damage can kill Taken, can kill gods, and it actually does more damage to Taken, to gods, to anything than any other weapon, be it darkness, be it light, be it any other weapon. It does more damage being a kinetic than any other element, which, sure, that could just be gameplay. Like I'm saying, I'm brainstorming, I do want more evidence, but because of that, and because with prismatic, and specifically I do think kinetic damage is prismatic, there's going to be a new super with prismatic, if you did not know this. I don't know the button input for controller, but it is going to be a new super that when you pop it, it gives you overcharged abilities to super degree. Like it is overcharged abilities, which allows you to do crazy things like fuse to ability or fuse to subclasses completely, unlike having different abilities you can tack on together. Like the prismatic subclass, this is 2 abilities fused into one entirely. Like Warlock's super allows them to toss a vortex grenade with stasis shards in it that pulls them in, slowing them while the shards slowly get into the center. Like you can actually see the shards getting closer and closer to the center. They're constantly slowing things, doing damage, that general thing. But when it gets to the center, the vortex grenade explodes, applying weaken, and the entire time it's slowing and shattering anything in the vicinity of the entire bubble. That is the power of the super. Like hunters have a like it's not vortex. It is actually it's more okay. It's a vortex grenade, which I should actually show you these things. It is a vortex grenade. Where is there it is? Void Spike Grenade, which constantly emits that energy, but it is not actually a void. It is a solar, I believe it is. Oh, I think it is. Okay, I think it is stasis to begin with, but constantly emitting stasis juice off of it, and then it swaps to solar, but instantly causes ignition on that swap from itself, which does high damage, which instantly shatters anything frozen, while it also has the ability to slow. Then the ignition from itself, and then it causes more solar from the same spout as the stasis, which that combination then causes another, from the more spurted out solar, causes more ignitions on top of that. And because it is a sticky grenade, like this, you can actually unicorn a bitch, which is, if you didn't know, sticking the sticky grenade that is basically like the old Pengu grenades that looked like a weird pipe. They look like that. That's the spike grenades. That's how they always look. There's Void Spike, Solar Spike. Solar Spike, I think, is called Tripwire. Like, they're all the same general look. You can actually unicorn somebody by tossing it on their head and then hitting explode. You can do that in PvE as well, which is what I primarily want to talk about and focus on. PvP is going to be a shit show, or hopefully not a shit show, come the final shape, because Prismatic is going to let you do everything, basically, but not everything. Specific things from all the subclasses, like it's one melee grenade and fragment, or one melee grenade and aspect from every single subclass. but only your specific subclasses, like Titan, will get a one void, one void super, one void aspect, one void melee, and one void grenade across the entire thing. Each ability has its own uses and own things that it can do, which is how that is going to work. Hell yeah, that has actually been an hour, or almost an hour. I did want to talk about something specifically. Uh, the reason why I think that is going to, or why kinetic is actually prismatic, is because prismatic, that super, has two halves. One half has to be, or not has to be, but one half is light damage, one half is dark damage. One half gets charged up by only doing damage with energy or with light. One side gets filled up by only doing damage with darkness. But if you do damage with a kinetic, you fill up both, which that already points to it's a little bit more than what we assume. And like you already said, kinetics can kill paracausal entities, which, from everything we understand, kinetics are meant to be like an AK. AK follows the laws of physics. AK follows everything we understand about everything. Why can't AK kill Taken God? That doesn't make sense. And with the idea of there's paracausal kinetics, there is paracausal kinetics in a lot of different situations. One that I really, really hope is absolutely cracked, because this is actually going to get a massive overhaul with its overall ability. Where are you? There you are, you beautifully weird weapon. Cerberus plus one is exactly what you would think. It is a 3 or 4 barreled auto rifle, which is right here. Like, you see all 4 barrels, which is why it's called the Cerberus plus one. It's 3 plus 1. It's kind of fun. But something amazing. This used to be absolutely shit. But come next expansion, next episode, next season, whatever you want to call it, that is going to get a complete overhaul, where it's not going to be an instant swap over. You have to get a kill, and then it triggers. But when it triggers, it just gives you the tighter spread, more damage, none of the downsides. Because what it does now is tighter spread, more damage, slower fire rate, and I think shorter range. Like, it gives you a lot of downsides for its overall benefits, but it allows you to two-tap easily. But with a slow and a fire rate, where at its range, you're just better off using a shotgun. With this change, you should be able to tap, like tap, like that fast. Some guy in the head in PvP and in PvE. I'm assuming this is actually going to be fucking cracked. The best part about this gun, to be completely honest, is that it is a primary ammo shotgun. Do not let the title auto rifle throw you off. It is a shotgun. Use it as such in PvE, PvP, no matter what, but with the ability of primary ammo, so we have infinite ammo with 31 rounds in the magazine, that general thing. But it is a shotgun above all else, especially come next season, expansion, next episode, whatever you want to call it, because of its newest update that I just talked about. Like, that is going to make it even more of a shotgun, which is going to be beautiful. And that is another thing about this gameplay overall, and how I just love it, and how I really hope that it gets more and more blossomed silver tree that they're really wanting to hone in on. I know they're going to hone in on even more come the next expansion. And off the top of my dome piece, I'm assuming the silver tree is the guardian. Like, that's a metaphor, not a metaphor. Both. It is both. Because Paracol's shit. It is the traveler. Because not the traveler. It is the guardian. Because the guardian is the seed of light, being able to blossom into a tree of epic proportions. Where why we see in, like, the trailers for the final shape that is all corrupted and shit is because the witness himself, or itself, is really wanting to control everything, including us. We are just saying, "Ha, fuck you, how fucking dare you, and go fuck yourself." The 3 fucks. But with all that said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.